Hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I'm here for the Not Too Shabby Shop, and I get to show you this darling stamp set from Darcy's Heart and Home. It's called Cardinal in Wreath, and I'm going to be making up a tin pin card with this. You can also purchase the tin pins. Here they are. These turn your card into a really fun interactive card. I'm also going to be doing a little bit of coloring with my colored pencils on kraft cardstock. I love the look of colored pencils on kraft's cardstock. So let's stamp up this cute little image. And the paper I'm using is Neenah Desert Storm 80-pound weight cardstock. And I'm going to use my mini Misty because after I'm done with my coloring, I do like to restamp it to freshen up the lines. So I'm using some extreme black ink from MFT, or My Favorite Things. And I do stamp this up several times, but I'm just going to show you one stamping for the sake of time. Now, the thing about tin pins is you're going to want to color in your image as closely as you can to the tin pin so it matches. So I pulled out my Polychromos hex chart just to get an idea of what pencils I want to use. I downloaded this chart from Sandy Allnock's website, and I just love it. It's so very helpful to see what colors you have to work with. So I'm going to hop right into the coloring. I'm using my medium tone first, and I am going to turn the paper because I want the lines to kind of curve around its head. I don't want there to be any straight lines, and that is the reason I'm also coloring it in very softly with a very light hand. I'm not putting too much pressure down at all, but because of this, I will have to come in with several layers. I'm not going to go into his face just yet, especially with this colored pencil. I'm going to use a lighter colored pencil to preserve my highlights. I'm going in with a rose carmine pencil. This will be a little bit lighter than my red colored pencil. And then eventually I will come in with a white colored pencil just to make them really match the packaging that I'm following. You see it there up in the left-hand corner. And now for another layer of the red. Using lots of layers also adds a nice richness to your work. And here I'm coming in with my white colored pencil. You can see how that lightens up his face and the highlights on his belly and his tail and his wing. I'm going back in with another layer of red. And then I add a little bit of really dark red to the nooks and crannies on my bird, and this will help the image to really pop. It'll add lots of dimension. I'm adding white dots of gel pen to his eyes. And now I could color in the background, and I'm just using my white colored pencil to do this. This is actually a Prismacolor white pencil. I don't like the Faber-Castell white colored pencils. They are just not as thick as the Prismacolor or even the Caran d'Ache. Now for the greenery, I'm going to leave the tips of some of these leaves so you can see the kraft cardstock. And I'm only going to color a few on camera. This did take a while, but I do come in with a really dark green colored pencil to put just at the base of the leaves. For the twig wreath around him, I'm just using two colors of brown. And again, I'm letting some of the kraft cardstock show through. What I'm using here is a colorless blender pencil. It's a Prismacolor as well. This will help to blend my layers together. I do like to use mineral spirits, and it's called Gamsol. But this time I just wanted to try out this colorless blender pencil. I haven't used this in quite some time. As I said, I'll color the rest of the greenery in and the wreath off camera. And I'm going to add little dots of gel pen into the center of these berries just to give them a little bit of shine and to make them stand out. And once all my coloring is done, I can now put it back into the Mini Misty. I'll stamp it up with some Simon Says Stamp Intense black ink. My desk is so messy that I couldn't find the other ink, and this is what I was able to find. But they're almost completely alike, these two inks. And now when I open the door, you'll see what a big difference this makes. It just helps it pop. Look how fun that is. Now, the sentiment that I'm going to be using from this set says, "May your holidays be wreathed in joy." So I'm going to be putting a lot of little wreaths around this bird. And I'm using my Simon Says Stamp circle dies to do this. These are really fun because not only do they cut out the circles, but they cut out a little border around each circle. You'll see what I mean here in just a sec. So here they are. I cut them out with green paper first, and then I'm going to use the same dies to cut out some red and white cardstock. And here they are all done. I can make up a bunch of cards using these, but I want to get an idea of what circles I'm going to be using. And now I can start gluing them down. I'm using a piece of scratch paper behind this. This circle is so narrow that it was hard to keep its shape when I put it on my card. So the next time I do this technique, I'm going to put down a wider circle first, and then put the smaller circle frames around it and inside it. But I want this to be perfectly centered around my bird wreath. Now for the green color, and then another little frame in white this time. And my red frame is next. And my last circle is going to be this green circle. I allowed this to dry for a few minutes, and then I can flip it over and cut off the excess. I think my scissors are getting kind of dull. I need to sharpen them. If you have a guillotine paper trimmer, you could definitely use that. I think it would be so much easier. And here it is, all done. And now it's ready for the tin pin. I'm going to use a very flat magnet to put behind this panel. And I'm building a little whale around it using some foam tape from Arteza. I put some dot liner behind the magnet and just kind of stuck it in place. And then I will add dot liner on top of the magnet. And now I can pull off all of my release paper from the foam tape and put this onto a white card base. The magnet perfectly aligned with the foam tape, so there won't be a bulge where the magnet is at all. To send a card like this out into the mail, I would use a bubble mailer just to protect everything. And now for the tin pin. Isn't that fun? This is going to be a great card to send to a kid, or I'm sure adults would just love it too. And now to stamp out my sentiment. I stamped it out once already, but it was too close to the edge because I'm using a faux stitched banner die to cut this out. I'm using some VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp this. It's a nice dark crisp ink. When I'm not using my Mini Misty, I do like to use this ink because it's pretty much a sure thing when you stamp it out. Now I'll cut off the excess of the banner. To add a touch of sparkle, I'm going to use my Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen. And I'm just putting them on the berries and the leaves. And here is a close-up look at the finished card. I really love how this one turned out. If you're interested in the stamp set and the tin pins, you can find them at the Not Too Shabby Shop. Here is a 10% off coupon code for you. I will have the links to everything listed in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. Take care. Bye.